Tonight on CTV News, we have updates on the viral video that showed a police officer arresting a CSU student.
Plus, we talked to Liz Prossi about what your weather is going to look like this weekend.
All this, plus weather, sports, entertainment, and more, starting on CTV News now.
Good evening and thanks for tuning into CTV News tonight. I'm Stuart Smith filling in for Emily Biffinger.
And I'm Grace Reeder. Our biggest story tonight comes from a video that has become viral showing a police officer detaining a CSU student. That officer was reportedly put on paid administrative leave. Michaela Surratt has been all over the news following what some believe was an abuse of power by a Fort Collins police officer. Michelangelo Bustamante is at the Fort Collins police station right now.
Michelangelo, what updates do you have in this story?
Thanks, Grace and Stuart. I'm here outside of the Fort Collins Police Department where I have an update on this developing story. According to a press release made just moments ago by the Fort Collins Police Department, Officer Randall Klasner, the arresting officer in the Michaela Surratt case, has been placed on investigative leave until the investigation concludes. As many of you are aware, the Fort Collins police have been a topic of national conversation over the past couple days because of a video that has surfaced across the internet. Michaela Surratt, a junior at Colorado State University, has also found herself a topic of conversation because of a Snapchat video of her being detained by the Fort Collins police. The video, taken outside of Bondi Bar in Old Town, is 9 seconds long, showing a slight scuffle between the officer before the officer throws her down to the ground. Some are saying that the force used by the officer was excessive, and the Fort Collins Police Department is investigating the situation. Once the investigation is complete, the Fort Collins police will release the body cam video showing what happened in those moments before the arrest was made. Fort Collins police said that they're trying to release the video to maintain the trust and the transparency of the case. However, they don't want to do so at the detriment of the rights of those involved or to slow down the court proceedings. So I went on to talk more about what happened and just how humiliating it was for her. Surratt says she fears for her life and her safety. And she's also received multiple death threats while walking across campus. She's due in court in May for her deposition. Be sure to stay tuned to CTV 11 News for any updates on this developing story. Live outside of the Fort Collins Police Department, I'm Michelangelo Bustamante for CTV 11 News. Back to you, Grace and Stuart.
Thanks, Michelangelo. Stuart, did you see that video?
I did see the video. I woke up on Saturday morning and it was one of the first things I saw on my Twitter feed.
Yeah, it was kind of all over the place. Did you have anyone talking about it in your classes?
Oh yeah, every class had people talking about it, even people across the nation that I'm talking to.
Yeah, it seemed to be
friends.
Definitely a big topic all the way across the nation.
Yeah. Well, some, including Quan Atlas, a previous candidate for mayor, believe that the force used by the police officer was excessive. A protest has been planned at Fort Collins City Hall on April 18th at 5:30 p.m. Juan Caro and Emily Faulkner, members of the Conservative Interest Group of Colorado, and Quan Atlas have been at the forefront of the rally. Caro stated that to the Collegian that the protest is not regarding her charges, which will be decided in court. The protest is against the force used by the officer. We will talk to Atlas later on in the show, so stay tuned.
After the announcement and groundbreaking ceremony regarding the new meat harvesting facility, an animal advocacy group on campus, Rams Organizing for Animal Rights, or ROAR, has planned a protest. The protest is set for April 19th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the Oval, starting at the south entrance of the admin building and proceeding to the plaza. We've reached out to ROAR and are hoping to chat with them prior to that event.
The Rams Member Ram ceremony will take place on Monday at 5 p.m. in the administration building. This annual celebration remembers those who attend, have attended, work, or have worked at CSU. The event is a way to show solidarity and support and is not necessarily a religious event. All are welcome.
In brighter news, the grand opening of the 2017 Student Art exhibit in the Kerfman Gallery was unveiled this past Tuesday. Our news reporter Emily Biffinger has an inside look.
With over 300 student submissions, the 2017 Student Art Exhibition showcases the incredible talent of fellow CSU students and ranges across a broad spectrum of art mediums.
My work is kind of, for lack of a better word, experimental. I don't really conceive of an end when I set out to make it. I allow spills to happen. I allow it to sort of devalue itself, to step on it, because I think as soon as you start taking your piece too seriously or feeling like it's too precious, then you're afraid to do something drastic to it, which might make it way better.
I think that the really unique thing about this student exhibit in particular is that obviously it's all student work. So we see like a huge range of work that comes in, whether it's paintings, drawings, ceramics, photography, everything. We just get a lot of diversity in this exhibit, and that's probably the most unique thing about this one, I would say.
Oh, I went on a couple mission trips a little while back, and so one of those really inspirational mission trips I went on was to Nicaragua. And these kids like really changed my life, and so I decided to do a series of black and white portraits. In this series, I really wanted to kind of just like show like what the emotions were that I felt like on the trip, and like what the how the kids were, you know, and like there was like no water there. It was poverty.
This is definitely our most popular exhibit of the year. Our art and science one is also pretty popular as well. It was right before this one, but by far the student exhibit is the most popular. We get a ton of families in here, a bunch of students obviously, they bring their friends, coworkers, everything.
As we move forward, interdisciplinary art and interdisciplinary science in every field is only becoming more and more important as opposed to these separate silos. It gets everyone talking and having a greater discussion.
For more information, please visit lsc.colostate.edu.
Well, we are now joined by our weather anchor, Elizabeth Prossi. Liz, thank you for joining us.
Let's hear some good news about the weather this weekend, Liz.
Grace Stewart, I do have good news. It is Easter weekend and the sun is going to be shining. Saturday, for you sports fans, there's the Rocky Mountain Showdown for lacrosse. The CSU Rams will face the CU Buffs at noon on the Lagoon Field. It's going to be pleasant, 67 degrees. If you're more of a music kind of person, there's going to be a hip-hop concert Saturday afternoon. Again, beautiful day for both events. Now, Sunday is Easter, and for your Easter egg hunt, going to be a great start to the morning. We're going to see increasing clouds throughout today, but you notice a high of 70 degrees, going to be beautiful. Now, looking ahead with our 7-day forecast, we see the clouds come in Sunday afternoon, heading to Monday and Tuesday. That's because Wednesday we will bring in a chance of rain Wednesday afternoon, and with that rain, also some wind. So it will be a nice week, but then we're going to have a chance of rain. So good news and then some not so good news. But good news is that it's going to be a nice week. And Grace?
Thanks, Liz. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? It's going to be nice, I hear.
I'm going down to Denver to cover a protest for the Collegian.
Okay, well, at least it'll be, you know, nice for that
it'll be nice
protest.
weather.
You won't be cold while you're jotting down notes or anything.
Nice and warm.
Great. Well, I'm going to go on a hike with my boss's dogs, so that'll be fun too.
Where are you hiking?
Definitely going to Grey Rock.
Oh, that's
it's
a really
beautiful.
cool place.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. So it'll be very fun. Well, I'm excited for the nice weekend. Don't go away, because up next we talk to Quan Atlas, who's been helping organize the protest against police brutality in Fort Collins. Don't go away.
Tune in to KCSU, your student-run radio station at Colorado State University. Live 24 hours a day, every day at 90.5 FM and kcsufm.com. Live local new music now, and news, talk, and sports. KCSU, the radio voice of Colorado State, on the air since 1964.
You're watching CTV, produced by Colorado State University students, bringing you news, weather, sports, and entertainment from campus and beyond. CTV live Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m. on campus and Fort Collins on Channel 11. Repeats at midnight, 8 a.m., noon, and 2 p.m.
The Rocky Mountain Collegian is your student-run news and information platform. Pick up your paper on campus or around Fort Collins Monday through Thursday with special editions Fridays. And check out collegian.com anytime for all the latest updates. News, sports, entertainment, opinion, and more. The Rocky Mountain Collegian, serving Colorado State since 1891.
College Avenue has been your student magazine for the last 10 years. College Avenue prints once a month, covering topics that are relevant to the CSU and Fort Collins community. We also print special editions like the graduation guides at the end of each semester, the best of CSU each fall, and the orientation guide each summer. Look for us on racks around campus, off campus, or online at collegian.com under the College Avenue tab.
I'm now joined by Quan Atlas, who's been working to help form the protest against police brutality in Fort Collins. So first and foremost, if you could just tell us a little bit about why you have gotten involved with this protest.
Well, I got involved because, like a lot of people, what I saw just didn't meet the eye test. It was aggressive and excessive, and I think in any sort of injustice or anything that we see that is not right, it's our opportunity to really step up, say something, and then look for ways we can make a difference in the future.
And what about the 9-second video for you indicates police brutality?
Well, that's been the point of a lot of controversy, is what's happened outside of the 9 seconds. And there's been a lot of talk about what may have happened, but we really have what we see there. And what I see is that the officer has Surratt's arms in his hands, and she is backing up, and she asks, and you can hear it, "What did I do?" And then she's slammed to the ground. So that shows that the officer didn't want to have a conversation anymore. He didn't want to get another officer involved to grab her arms from the back. He didn't take his time. He just slammed her to the ground and didn't look at the fact of how much damage it would cause. And so I think there are other options, and that's what we're going to be looking for. And I think we need to also defend her right for justice as well. We can always, the officer always has their opinion and what their recount of the events publicized as facts and details. Well, we haven't heard much of the other side, as well as we don't have proof that the things that the officer said happened. And so I think it's only right that we look at what happened in the video, and it wasn't right.
So it's unlikely that the Fort Collins police officers' videos that they have from their body cams will be released before your protest. Do you think it's fair to have the protest prior to those videos being released?
Yes, like I said, we're talking about what happened in those 9 seconds. And what I saw was not justice. What I saw was not restraint. He had her arms, and then he slammed her.
So then what do you do if those body cams get released and that protest has already happened, and the body cams really do show that she was resisting arrest or punching a police officer, or whatever the case may be? What then? What steps do you take after that?
Well, then I hope that justice is served. I hope that it's still lenient for her, given the fact that she was punished that night by getting her jaw busted and bruised. And so I think the overall conversation needs to still be about how do we arrest people downtown who may be drinking or maybe not understanding what's going on. Like I said, she's clearly asking, "What did I do?" Maybe that's an opportunity to have a conversation of her rights, as well as what's going to happen next is that I'm going to arrest you. Can you please stop? And then if that's not going to work, can I get an officer involved so that you don't get hurt and nobody gets hurt?
So I guess then my question to you would be, like, where do we find that line between, explaining what's going to happen next, but also allowing the police officers to do their jobs?
Well, yeah, and their job is not to hurt people. Their job is to protect others, as well as really protect the community from actions that we don't want to see. And so when I even hear the accounts of what she did to even be arrested, it still calls into question, what is the officer's goal here? Could have been avoided. And so you have to take every case individually, but we're seeing that people are so easily willing to accept the officer's account of what happened, as well as blame Ms. Surratt for what happened to her, which is really unfortunate.
And so the Fort Collins Police Department has come out with a statement saying that this is protocol and how they handle a situation like Ms. Surratt's. So what do you say then to, should the protocol be changed, and what would you suggest?
Yeah, the protocol should be changed, and that was a big misstep by the Fort Collins, and that's why we're getting a lot of scrutiny across the nation. Standard procedure to slam a woman to the ground, that you shouldn't say that first and foremost. And if that is the policy, then we need to definitely relook at it.
Great. And what would you suggest as an alternative policy? I know you talked about maybe explaining what the process would be. Do you have any suggestions that you would like to pitch to the Fort Collins Police Department to change that policy?
Well, the policy, what they're saying is that that the force that they used, or the maneuver, is a standard maneuver to taking people down. I'm not saying that they should get rid of that maneuver. Obviously, that maneuver could work in other instances. What I'm saying is that they should look at what's happening, and they should have a legitimate reason to use that kind of force against somebody. She's clearly in the video backing up, already has her arms restrained because an officer who is a lot bigger than her is holding her arms. Why would you need to throw her to the ground?
So kind of on a case-by-case basis, yes. You would say. All right, absolutely. And then what is your goal from this protest overall? What would you like to see as the end result?
What I want to see as the end result for me is for the community to understand that there's always 3 sides to the story. There's the officers, there is the person who gets arrested, and then there's the truth first and foremost. So let's have a conversation about that. And then we need to look at the overall scope of police brutality in America and use this as opportunity to really look at how is Fort Collins going to address these issues going further. In Greeley, recently, there was a woman who got her arm broken 3 times within an officer conduct. So how does the police interact with women in general? And then how do they interact with the community? And so coming out and saying that this is standard procedure is not the correct way to handle it. And so I'm really hoping that the community to come together and really have a broader discussion that does look at gender, it does look at race, and it does look at all the factors that really are making this making it viral. Use this opportunity to really have a big discussion about police brutality, because it's often overlooked and it's been kind of quiet in the media lately with everything that's been going on nationally. We haven't been talking about police brutality in a little bit.
Great. And then would you mind giving us just a reminder of the date, time, and place for that event?
Yeah, so it's just going to be at the next regular city council proceeding, and it's going to be Tuesday at 5:30 is when they kind of kick off. I think they officially start at 6, and so we should, if you plan to attend, please be there. Please be prepared to say something and really have in the lobby area, a lot of people have conversation. I'm really hoping people are willing to participate in the conversation about what happened.
Great, a discussion point.
Yeah.
Awesome, well thank you so much for being on again. I really appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy, so
Of course.
appreciate all your time. Elizabeth Prossie will be up next with her full weather forecast. Don't go anywhere.